Hello, my dear students. In this video, I would like to show you how we can use ChatGPT to graph a data set that I have obtained, in this case from a physics experiment. So, in my first interaction, of course, I explained to ChatGPT what basically I want to do. So I said, "Hi ChatGPT, I would like to assist me, right, to graph a data set obtained from a physics experiment. The experiment was about refraction of light, where the incident ray comes from air and enter into a prism of an unknown material." Well, of course, ChatGPT, very polite, said, "I would be glad to help you graph your refraction data. To proceed, please provide the data from your experiment. Ideally, I need the angle of incidence in degrees, so the angle the light ray makes with the normal before entering the prism, and the angle of refraction in degrees, so the angle the light ray makes with the normal inside the prism. Once I have the angle pairs, I can help you. So plot sine of theta 1 versus sine of theta 2, where theta 1 is the angle of incidence and theta 2 is the angle of refraction. Fit a straight line assuming the Snell's law applies. So n1, so index of refraction of the medium 1 times the sine of theta 1 is equal to the index of refraction of the medium 2 times the sine of theta 2. So theta 1, angle of incidence, theta sub 2, the angle of refraction. So later, uh, ChatGPT said, well, I can also determine then the index of refraction of the prism material from the slope. Please enter your angle pairs in the format angle of incidence, comma, angle of refraction. So well, my prompt was now the other pairs, theta 1, comma, theta 2 are in degrees. I want that you make a graph sine of theta 1 versus sine of theta 2, such that sine of theta 1 be on the y-axis and the sine of theta 2 in the x-axis. The other pairs are 10,8, 20,16, 30,23, 40,31, and 50,39. Show me the graph with the trend line and its equation. And yes, ChatGPT basically graph it, and it gave me this equation you see over here, and gave me uh, this trend line. Well, ChatGPT explained basically the graph. Here is the graph of the sine of theta 1 y-axis versus sine of theta 2 x-axis along with the linear trend line. The trend line equation is this one. So, but it's of course using a y-intercept other than 0,0. So you put this plus b here, which should not be part of the Snell law. So that's why ChatGPT is later asking me, would you like me to adjust the trend line to pass to the origin and recalculate the slope? I say, of course, yes, please set the intercept to 0,0 and adjust the equation of the trend line, show me the new graph and the new equation of trend line. So it did it. So it adjusted. In the first case, the slope was 1.219. In the second case, after the adjustment, it was 1.239. Well, here is where we had a little problem with ChatGPT, because then ChatGPT got kind of very creative in this part and said, well, the slope is approximately 1.520. So this slope represents the refractive index of the non-material, assuming the incident medium is air. It doesn't have to be assuming that. I said that as part of my prompt. So the material refractive index is approximately 1.52, which is typical of glass. Well, we have a contradiction here because the graph shows that the slope, so the refractive index of the physical medium, is 1.239, and ChatGPT approximated here to 1.520. But it will just becomes even more problematic, because when I found the error, I say the equation you show me as part of the graph shows a slope equal to 1.239. So why are mentioning above that the slope is approximately 1.520? And then ChatGPT said this, which is completely erroneous. Say yes, you are absolutely right to point out that the confusion happened because I initially calculated the slope with the intercept set to 0, which correctly gives us 1.239, but in my explanation I mistakenly quote the original regression slope with intercept, which was around 1.52. That is not true really. There was an oversight on my part, so to clarify, with intercept different of 0, the slope was 1.520, which is not true. The slope was lower than 1.239, really. And with intercept equals 0, the correct slope is 1.239 as shown on the graph. Therefore, the refractive index of the known material, assuming the light comes from air, is m sub 2 equals 1 over the slope, so it's going to be 0.807. And here, ChatGPT was hallucinating, completely hallucinating, because m sub 2, the index of refraction of the second medium, is equal to the slope. It's not the reciprocal of the slope. But ChatGPT just keep, like going deeper in its own error and say this is physically inconsistent since refractive indices are always greater than 1. So that suggests either the angle of measurement has an error or the prism may have not been properly aligned during the experiment. Would you like help analyzing the data quality or spotting errors sources in the experiment? So in this case, ChatGPT is in some way blaming me, about the error. It's talking about an error during the experiment. So I just have to go and rectify this and say, but the slope must be the refractive index of medium 2 in this case. Why are you taking the refractive index as 1 over the slope? And then, well, finally, ChatGPT found that, oh, excellent observation, and you're absolutely correct. Let's go step by step to clarify. Show me the Snell law. Then show me, of course, as we have air in the medium 1, that the law becomes sine of theta 1 equals m2 sine of theta 2. And then, of course, find out that the slope is going to be equal to the sine of, it's going to be equal to the index of refraction, so n sub 2. And that y is the sine of theta 1, and that x is going to be equivalent to the sine of theta 2 for the equation of the line y equals mx. So when you graph sine of theta 1 versus sine of theta 2 with the intercept set to 0, the slope is directly equal to n sub 2, the index of refraction of the medium 2. So the slope you saw in the graph, 1.239, is the correct refractive index of the material. My previous mention of taking 1 over the slope was wrong in this context, and I appreciate your close attention. So to conclude, the end of the prism is 1.239. This value is realistic for materials like acrylic plastic or some type of optical polymers. So it was a very interesting interaction. The part related to graphing was excellent, so we can use and because it's pretty accurate, ChatGPT when it's graphing. Now when ChatGPT start trying to make an interpretation of the values of the slope was when it started just making some errors. So as conclusion of this, I would recommend you to use ChatGPT. In this case I am using ChatGPT 4 up just to make a graph. If you have some issues to graph using Microsoft Excel or any other graphical tool, but you must be a skeptic of what comes after that. So the interpretation that ChatGPT is gonna make of the slope or is gonna make about your graph, it could be not accurate. So you must be aware, right, that there is a chance that ChatGPT makes an error or have an hallucination, and you should be reading carefully and rectifying and interacting with the AI, so you can find out together what is the correct answer in this case. Thank you for your attention, and again, well, I believe that at least in terms of graphing is a pretty good tool. Thank you for the attention. I hope to see you in another video. Subscribe to my channel if you found the video interesting, and just click on like if you feel that the video really was useful for you. Thank you.